Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. And today I'm going to be talking about disability and the obstacles we keep having to fight. Right now, I've mentioned some stories, especially on my podcast, which I have not done in like 6 months because life's been going crazy. But anyway, I've talked about issues that I've had with the pharmacy, and then even I I haven't mentioned Wicked yet, but I saw the play earlier this year and people were acting it like I met some amazing people, but then I've met some people they were showing me their Wicked, their ableism, and just how awful and terrible they are. And just like right now I'm going through another disability situation, sorry. Hi, hello, how are you? As you can tell, yes, I talk about disability issues, disability rights, but current events, politics, dating nightmares, and so much more. And so I spill the tea, real stuff, real stories. And at the same time, I sometimes use the current events into how can this help my writing? How can this make my characters and surroundings more unique and three-dimensional and things like that? So, but yes, today I'm talking about the mail service because it's like I am trying to buy some stuff for Christmas and everything, right? And I had a shipment, but the shipment did not tell me that it was going to require a signature. And so I wish that okay, some of you companies, if you're going to require a signature, can you at least put that in the receipt or just somewhere, or try to give notice or even in the email? Because I didn't even know who was at the door when it rang, and I don't know how quickly I'm going to have to move, because when I have a disability and it's a walking disability, I don't want to have to risk falling in order to catch the person. And it's like, so I heard the doorbell ring, and then with most packages, they leave it at the door and then they go about their business. But if they need a signature, they don't wait, or they don't wait that long, and I don't know to say 1 minute, because it's like if it's a salesperson or especially one of those religious people, I'm like, yeah, okay, you can go to the next. So it's like I never know, and I don't want to just shout out I have a disability, because if it's somebody who, I mean, these are strangers. So I don't know what their intent. I don't know what is in their heart or in their minds, or because some of them don't have hearts. But anyway, it's just so I find out that, well, because I go to the door and there's nothing. And so I think it's a salesperson. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But then later that night, it's like my family member gets home and stuff, and they tell me that oh, there was a package for you, but they needed a signature. And this is like late at night. And I'm just like, what? What are you talking about? And so then around 11 p.m. or midnight, I get an email saying that the delivery was missed, but I get this form and stuff for redelivery, and I'm kind of upset because I'm like, they didn't even wait that long. I got to the door, I opened the door, no one was there, and it's like I don't want to have to yell that out, because for especially for my safety, if that wasn't the postal person, it's like I don't know what I'm at risk for, because it's like we all know how it's like we already have people running around doing crazy and stupid things, especially during the holidays. And so this morning I'm calling, trying to get it redone, rescheduled and everything. And it's like trying to get to an agent is impossible. But then the options are, I can like I can sign the form and then it'll be sent or brought in like 2 days and everything. So I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. But then they say you can drive and pick it up. And I'm still working on driving again. It's like I have my lessons, but now I'm still working on the process. If you don't know, I'll talk about it in another video, but it's like it's really frustrating when there are systems that are not for the dis- disabled and people with handicaps, especially like if you don't have that option to drive or you have to ask for a ride, because that's one thing I try my best not to do. I try not to ask my family members to do things like that are for me when it's like I'm newly diagnosed. It's like some of you guys already know my story. For over 30 years, doctors told my parents and myself that the pain was in my head. I just wanted attention and I was making it up. And so you already know I've been through mental and so much physical like trauma, ABUSE, because like when the doctors would say this, yeah, it's called spankings, yellings, and like punishment. Like you don't even know. And so it wasn't until I could not no it wasn't until I could no longer walk. And if I can't walk, then I couldn't drive. And so I'm still working on physical therapy. I'm still working on getting stronger and things like that. But I used to work like 2, 3, 4 jobs at a time because I did promotional modeling and substitute teaching and things like that. So like when it came to working, I worked all the time. And I'm pretty thankful that I did that, or I would be like broke as a joke or whatever. But it's like I'm used to doing everything on my own, and if I didn't know how to do it, like I'm thankful for the internet. Like I've like sometimes there were situations where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I am stuck. I don't know what to do. I looked it up, I researched, and sometimes like later in life, my like one of my parents or now my father, he would ask me, he's like, how'd you? And I'd be like, oh, I looked this ABC and all this other stuff up or whatever. So now that I have my disability, and my disability got so much worse, and because no one believed me, everyone ignored me until it was too late. So many of my freedoms are taken away. And now it's like trying to call the place because it's like I'm trying to call them to see, can you guys put a notice in your system to let them know that one of the people at this residence has a disability? So can they wait a few minutes? Or can they ring the doorbell more than once so that I know, yeah, okay, yeah, please come get the door? Because when I have a disability and it's a walking disability and everything like that, it's like I have to go downstairs and stuff carefully, making sure like it's like I just need some time. And it's crazy how many businesses don't care or don't consider because, oh, I have so many stories because yeah, the time that Uber or no, Lyft or Uber, I'll grab the email because yeah, there was a week where I had to get rides to work and stuff, and I had my ride. I ordered the ride, and it was pouring rain, freezing and pouring rain, and it's like fine, like 2 or 3 minutes before the car got there, that's when I walked outside. So I would be with my walker. It takes me a little bit more time, so I wanted to make sure I was out and ready. And this car saw me and I'm walking towards the car. He backs up and leaves. He leaves. But he like see, and this is the funny part. Oh, guys, if you have a disability and you order an Uber or a Lyft driver, once you get assigned that driver, take a screenshot. Take a screenshot. Trust me. Because yeah, it's like I'll explain in a second, but have evidence just in case anything happens, especially if they just leave you. Because I know with one of the companies, because I forgot which one right now, all of the evidence leaves. If that driver leaves and cancels the order and then you have to wait for another driver, it leaves. It's not in your history. So take that screenshot. Make sure you have it. Because I had to wait for another driver, and that means I was in the pouring rain, in the cold, in the wintertime. And yes, I ended up with 102 fever and so cold, felt so off, like, and but then the next driver I had, he was absolutely amazing. It's like I might even text him to see in a later future video, can I post his information so that people can, like, the Metro Detroit, like, if you guys want to ride, get a ride with him. Because the second guy, he was amazing. And if I can market him and make sure he gets amazing, wonderful, like tips and rides, this person is like he saw me like wet and drenched, because like by the time I need to get another vehicle, but then the walk back inside, by the time it would have only been like 1 or 2 minutes for me to wait to come back outside for the next vehicle. So I ended up having to wait outside for the next vehicle, so that like I'm drenched, I'm cold, I'm freezing. Because yeah, I have Raynaud's disease. That's one of my disabilities. And so it's like I just remember he saw me, and it's like he opened the door, he made sure I was okay. It's like he even asked like where to leave the walker, because he wanted to make sure I had enough room. And then I tell him what happened, because he was just like, why didn't you wait inside? And I was like, you're the second one, because the first one left me. He was, and it's like, and so it was just crazy. I'll tell the whole story in another episode, but uh, when I reported him, because and this is why you need to have that screenshot. I need to make sure I say this, because when I wrote the company, I sent them the screenshot, because they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, are you sure?" It's like, in our records, where it's like, "Are you sure that happened?" And so sent them that, sent them the time, because it's like I had this time and everything right on it, and so by law they were supposed to have fired him. On their website, it says they would fire him. Nope. Because at first they said, don't worry, we're going to get rid of him, we're going to fire him, and all this other stuff. And then a week later, I get an email. 1 or 2 weeks later, I get an email. Well, we talked to him and we gave him a warning. A warning? He left me out in the rain. He drove off while I'm just like 10 feet from his car, and he drives away. And some of the listeners might think this is funny, but when you have a disability, this is not funny. And he broke the law. He broke the law. But he only got like a little swap on the wrist. Like I feel like the company doesn't care that I ended up like sick as like, and it's like, this is why I had to grade with a fever, because yeah, it's like I was teaching. Let's see, this was my I think that night was my advertising class. I was so sick and under the weather, and but it's like, and this is like, because it's right around the finals time. This was finals time. That night, one of my classes had finals, and so next thing you know, I'm sick and I'm trying to drag through and grade. And but anyways, back to the postal place. It's just, and also, well, okay, because I need to tell you the full story with the Uber, because I'm gonna have the receipts, because I have the email and everything. And then Burger King, and then Chipotle. It's like there's a lot of places that there's just a lot of places that don't care about our well-being or how we're treated. A lot of companies don't think people with disabilities have the money or the funds or can tip or are human enough or deserve the dignity and respect, and just it's pretty ridiculous. and awful and dehumanizing because I keep running into companies and businesses where, like with the Postal Service, it's like, okay, I don't want to have to ask for a ride to get my box. But then with the other company, like I didn't get a receipt. On the receipt, it did not say that I was going to have to be present and I was going to have to sign in order to get my packages. And so now I have to, like, I feel like once I sign this form and put it on my mailbox for I don't know how many days, I'm literally going to have to be close to the door. And I feel like that's kind of like a trap, like not kind of like a cage because I shouldn't have to feel caged in. It takes me a few more minutes. I just wish that there was a way where if you have a disability, it's like companies would be understanding because it's not like I can't come to the door. It just takes me a few more minutes to get to the door. I would just like a little respect and acknowledgement that I want to be as free and as independent as possible. I just literally just need a couple more minutes. And it's annoying that I each time these situations happen because even with food deliveries, when they mess up my order, Chipotle and Burger King, and then I call in to tell them that they are missing something from my order, they both like, oh, I can't wait to tell the full story with Burger King. But yeah, the lady literally said that's not my problem, and she told me either drive up to there or like she said either yeah or fill out the survey, but it's basically it wasn't her problem and she hung up on me. And then the woman at Chipotle, she said that I didn't sound like anything was wrong with me, and she says why don't I just drive up and get the items that were missing from my order. And because that's when, like I told her, I was like I can't drive because I have a disability. And she was just like, well, you don't sound like anything's wrong with you. How am I supposed to sound? And that's the thing. I get that, like, even while teaching at the community college, you don't know how many students disrespect me or they talk about me. Because I've had students say that I'm faking it. I've had students who, it's like they say that I just want attention. And I'm just like, now you sound like the doctors and my mother. But it's just, when it comes to business, when it comes to service, customer service, it's like some people say people with disabilities like some of them say I shouldn't be outside. I should stay in the house. And I still like the horrible date that I was on like 2.5 years ago. This guy had autism. He has a disability, but since I have a visible walking disability, he told me I should just stay in the house. And this is after around 2 months of him begging to take me on a date. Because I guess in the picture I look good enough. But once I start walking, I know like that I devalued myself with my walking. But it's like once he saw me, he should have just went home. He should have just said, you know what, never mind. But instead, we get in the car and then both ways because the date was cut short and I that I would never forget that day, the horror story and everything. But when you're driving someone home, do not just tell them that they just need to stay home because they and they shouldn't get a job and they they might be a distraction for like, how dare you? And some people might say, oh well, that might be his autism. Like, no, I don't I I think that was just his character. I think that was just who he is. I think he's just a heartless, vile, awful human being who saw that I'm a curvy, voluptuous woman. And so he was begging for my attention until he saw how I walk. He thought I was human enough to flirt with. And even when he first like came to me up in the apps and the dating apps and everything, he was just saying, "Oh my gosh, you're amazing, you're perfect." But then I told him about and that's the thing, I told him about my disability. After 2 or 3 weeks of talking, I texted him the name of my disability. And so that's one reason I think it's his fault. Because even during the car ride, when I got tired of him devaluing me and telling me that I have no place in society, I was just then like, why didn't you look up my disability? I gave it to you. He told me he didn't have enough time, and he told me I didn't sound like it would be that bad, or I didn't sound like he just thought, oh, this is like an overreach or exaggeration or something. And I am just flabbergasted because I'm just like, I literally gave you the diagnosis, and now you're going to tell me you don't have time, and that since I sound a certain way or that I look a certain way, it's like, this can't be me. Like, what? And that's how I feel like a lot of society sees some of us with disabilities. And yeah, I still haven't told you the Disney story. I'm still gonna have to tell you and show you the proof with uh, the the drive that I had when he skipped me. And then I wish I had the solid proof from Chipotle and Burger King, but I did report them, so at least it's like since I reported them, it's like it'll show that I did like I did do as much as I could. And there's another restaurant too that I didn't tell you guys about. I still haven't written the restaurant because I wrote the restaurant telling them about the horrible situation, and they asked for the person's name, and I'm like, I didn't have their name because they were the hostess. I didn't catch the hostess's name or whatever. So I'm like, I could describe her, but I don't know her. And so, but anyway, I just wish that companies and businesses, and this is one reason why I talk about disability in my marketing and like advertising classes, because people, especially companies, don't recognize or include us in a lot of things because I guess our dollars don't make sense to them. But thank you for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too. And just if you guys know of any business owners, if you know, or even if you have a favorite store or shop, maybe let them know to at least consider the disability community and know that we spend money too, and that we go out in public too. We are a part of society, or that's the thing, we want to be a part of society. One reason a lot of us stay to ourselves is because we're not welcomed in. We are not treated the same. We are teased, mocked, stared at. I will never forget the day that I went, like, the Wicked play was amazing, but it hurts because of how many people kept staring and whispering. And, like, one lady was just like, I see you have some wicked in you. And I'm just like, um, wow. Wow. And it's like, people have no idea. And some some refuse to understand, some enjoy being ableist because that means they're over people, either like their ego, or they their power is bullying, or that's the only thing they're good at. Well, let's just say I'm not saying everybody in every business is bad or awful and everything. There are good people in at least most businesses. Lately, there are some that, but and sometimes you have to work to find those people. And so this is an update because yeah, I've been calling on the USPS customer line like throughout the day, and I was at the point where I'm like, no, give me a human being. And so I had to wait between 20 and 25 minutes, and I got the chance to talk to a wonderful young woman named Anita. And it's like, oh my gosh, it was like, it was such a great experience because we got to dish and spill a little bit too. I was just like, oh, it's like she sounds like the type of woman I'm like, oh, let's go to brunch and oh, let's be petty and dish and talk. So it was just really cool and nice. And she added some notes in the file, so when they do the delivery, is like to please give me a few more minutes, and it's like for my safety and stuff because it uh, but anyways, she told me that she added a few things in there so that the person dropping off the package will be patient and wait, but at the same time on that day I'm probably going to move my workings. Like I'm probably going to have to take my laptop into a room closer to the door so that I am ready to get to it. And yes, it's like I'm that still sounds like I feel like I'm caged in a little bit, and I mean just a little cuz like I know it's cold out there. I know it's not even winter yet, but man, with Michigan, yeah, we have a long winter. Our fall is like half of our fall is winter, and even part of our spring is winter. But I think I got it resolved, and it takes some work, and I don't like a lot of people don't respect or acknowledge that yes, a lot of people with disabilities, we may not work as much, or we may not quote unquote do as much, but you don't see everything that we do have to do in order to live even somewhat a normal life. How it takes more energy and phone calls and organization and planning in order to. And it's like I know my sister was even for one of my Christmas gifts last year, she wanted to allow me the chance to go skiing. Or yeah, and but it would be with someone like with my disability. They have these skiers where it's like they partner up and you get into this contraption or this chair like thing, and it's like you can ride with them on skis in the winter. But it filled up so quickly. Like when you plan, you had like, especially when you have a disability, you have to plan ahead of time, and that is a privilege. I do like, I'm still trying to get my life together. Like I said before, I'm in the process of learning how, getting my ability to drive independently. And I'm still trying to finish up my novel so I can get that business going. Because if I can at least work and turn that into a part-time job, then that would be a blessing because I never know when I'm going to need anything else with my disability. Because physical therapy and then the stretching places, those are like, yeah, I want to talk about those places next year. And it's like the my at home equip you guys do not have you have no idea how much equipment I have at home that I use for my stretching and physical therapy and getting stronger and stuff like that. So, anyways, I already did my ending, so this is a very different, sloppier episode, but I'm messy, so you're used to me.